Hello and welcome to another episode of the FPL Hangover podcast where we raise the bar in order to own all things FPL related. We are coming to you on the 22nd day of the second month of the 2022nd year of our Lord. And here with me this week, folks, are two Christ-like figures in FPL. I am, of course, referring to the one and only Paddy, my podcast partner in crime. How are you getting on, my friend?
Great, mate. Great. Very excited tonight.
Understandable, because you're not alone. Here making his Hangover debut is... didn't even know how to introduce you. I was like, do I go Twitter-wise? Do I go with Steve? Friend of the show, but first time on an episode, FPL Fairy. Steve, how are you getting on, my friend?
I am good, Jared. Thanks very much for having me on, and looking forward to having a couple of cans of Guinness with you guys now here for the next hour or so.
Amen, brother. Because I'm in awe of your greatness and your presence here on the podcast. I don't know what to call you. Should I call you Fairy? Do I call you Steven? Or do I call you Steve?
Call me Steve, but you can, I'll answer questions to anything, so you can work away there.
Right. Call you anything, but not too early in the morning, huh?
That's it.
Get on.
No, you're not wrong, Paddy. You should be enough, because I did a little, as any upstanding member of the FPL community, I did a little bit of research into Steve's FPL history before he popped on, just so I could, maybe bring up some dark memories, something I can grill him on. And I couldn't find a whole lot. I don't want to turn this into too much of a circle jerk, but two top 4K finishes in 5 years. I think he's only ever finished outside the top 100K twice in his 13 years of playing. So he's a man that knows what he's talking about. And I think the only question to ask him is, what in God's name are you doing here, Steve?
I really like the name of your podcast, and I've been a long-term listener, so I know we had a couple of pints there back before Christmas, Jared, and I gave you an awful hard time for not asking me on, so it's about time,
Oh, I'm glad you had a good time drinking pints down in your nice party place.
Oh, it was really good, Paddy. Yeah, we had a lovely Irish FPL meetup. Were you not there, no?
Oh no, I couldn't make that day. I didn't hear about it.
Next time.
Too busy dipping, Paddy. Too busy dipping. We mentioned it last week, but you're hitting your full year this week, Paddy. Friday, Saturday, you were saying? You're going to be 1 year in the ocean?
Yeah, 1 year in the ocean on Friday. So it's been a blast, yeah.
And have you worked out how much money you've raised?
I have actually. There's for the Irish guys, there's I think there's a piece coming out in Irish Independent this week. And I had to actually work out what we raised. I think it was a total of just over 10,000 for various different charities, and you might see me on the telly these next couple of days. We done an advert for the Irish Cancer Society for a very inspirational lady called Rachel, and it's just hit the TV here yesterday. So it was really special to be a part of that too. So with all the swimming, a lot of good things came out of it. So it was a great year.
That sounds amazing. Have you been repping the FPL Hangover? Like, were you wearing some merch, getting our name out there?
I'm waiting for the fucking FPL Hangover budgie smugglers that haven't been put into production yet. So,
that's not a bad idea.
I've seen the cam swimwear. I've seen you with your coffee, different things. I'm just waiting for the kind of budgie smugglers from the FPL Hangover myself.
I know, they need to get all over that, So once the budgie smugglers are here, they'll be used.
I just got the pint mats, or the whatever they're called, So I mean, give me a bit of time. I didn't realize there'd be such a high demand, but I'll stick them on the forever increasing to-do list. And speaking of to-do list, we do have an FPL pod that we should start. I mean, we've been chatting shit now for a few minutes, and the longer we talk, the more conundrums are going to be raised. And this week is no different. Game week 26 is almost done. As I said, we're recording this on the 22nd, so it's a Tuesday. All of the fixtures, the double game weeks fixtures are still to be played, so we're not going to focus on the game week 26 too much in itself. We're going to be looking a bit more towards game week 27. How are we going to approach that? I know that there is one of us on a free hit. There's another one of us that's debating a free hit. So we're probably going to be looking at that pretty closely this week and not worrying too much about Game Week 27. But before we get on, or not worrying too much about Game Week 26, but before we get on to that, it is worth mentioning that after we stopped recording last week, before the deadline, there was an announcement of a double game week in 28 and a double game week in 29. That came rolling in on Friday, I believe it was. Paddy, were you aware of that? Have you been keeping up to date with the current fixtures?
Yes, I am. I was just about aware of that, and I did make a few tweaks to the wild card before, to be safe to prepare for those new doubles. Yeah. So, I'm kind of safe, I think.
What about you, Steve? Did it throw your decisions into the air a little bit before the deadline Saturday morning?
Yeah, I changed my plans totally. I went from taking a -8 or a -12 point hit on Friday evening to playing my wild card, free hit, bench boost, and treble captain over the next 4 weeks. So it changed my plans drastically.
Massively.
Not for the worst though. I mean, just having a look at how Game Week 26 is treating you. It seems to be going pretty well for all three of us here at the moment. But with being on your wild card, Steve, as is Paddy, are you happy with how the game week's going?
Yeah, I think I suppose everyone else, I got a bit stung by the Liverpool defence, so I went for Robertson and Trent along with Salah, and I went for double Wolves as well. And I suppose Arsenal conceding in the last minute was a bit of a pain having Ramsdale, but I'm sitting on 61 points with 11 more players to play, so that should leave me in a good position. It's hard to know what to kind of want because I've got Salah captain, but obviously whoever didn't wildcard has him as treble captain, so it's a bit of a strange position, but I'm on a green arrow currently, so yeah, all good there.
I suppose maximum points all around. Let Salah do his bit so long as all your wildcarders keep up with him, and you'll be laughing. What about you, Paddy? How are you feeling about Game Week 26 so far?
Yeah, much the same as Steve. It's like I was stung with the same transfers, Robertson and Trent, and the Arsenal clean sheet getting busted late. I had a couple of nice surprise points though from Rafinha and Dennis, the little bastard. He's come through, huh? And Saka as well, getting me 10. And then I just was like, Jimenez. I hadn't had Jimenez since probably, I don't know, last season. And just doing what he does best, ticking away. Got a wee assist from him. Happy days. So 64 points.
So far, Paddy. Plenty more left.
Yeah, 10 more to play.
I'm not too dissimilar. I'm on 74 points, -8, so 66 points, so in and around the same as yourselves. I didn't go wildcard. I triple captained Salah. I also transferred out Ronaldo in Bowen, and I took who else did I get rid of? I basically brought in Van Dijk, Kane, and Saka this week. So considering Saka's on 10 with a game in hand, Kane's 13, and obviously disappointed with the Liverpool clean sheet bust, but it's 2 points that Robertson owners didn't have. So I'm like, I'll count my luck where I need to. But all in all, not too disappointed. As we kind of said there at the top of the show, there's still a bit of a sting potentially left in this week. But I'll be happy pretty much the way it goes now. I mean, unless
many more doublers to play.
Yeah, I have the 3 Liverpool, including Salah obviously, and I have two Spurs with Kane and Davies, Rafinha to play again, Dennis to play again, and Ramsdale in goals to play again. So nice. Yeah, quite a chunk of players. It was one of those weeks where I was saying to Steve off air that, like, kind of prepping for it slowly but surely, getting my team in order for what was the double this week, and then the blank double next week. The double, it is a double and a blank, so it's like we're prepping for that. And then all of those double game week 28 and 29 announcements were made on Friday, and right now I'm sitting there going, and I am sure a lot of FPL managers are in the exact same situation. I'm asking myself, like, do I change the plan and go with potentially free hitting in game week 27, or do I stick to the plan and take slowly, save my chips for maybe a bit closer to the end of the season, which was the plan originally? And for me, I woke up this morning and I said I'm 100% free hitting. It seems the best way to do it. I look at FPL Twitter. You see the template team, and you're going, yeah, that's pretty much a solid team that anyone free hitting is going to be in and around. And then I sat down with my pen and paper and ended up talking myself out of it and going, no, I might actually be okay. So that's based on the fact that I already have a bunch of Southampton cover. I have a bit of Spurs action there, but it's not the case for everyone. Paddy, how are you looking to approach Game Week 27? Because you did joke about potentially free hitting today.
Yeah, no, I'm going into it with 10 players. My only missing player will be Trent. So I know it's not the strongest looking team on paper, but it's a team. I'm getting a team out there, and I think because I've only got one free hit left. And
Yeah.
I think I want to keep, and I can just bank the transfer, and I can get through it. I'll just very quickly. It's Jimenez, Dennis, Broja.
Okay.
Thankful to have the Southampton guys in on the wild card. I've got Livramento as well, so they're playing Norwich, which is nice. Rafinha, Ramsey, and Son, and Cancelo, Cody, and then Foster. So it's it's not the best team. It'll be nothing to those amazing treble Spurs and probably. Who else will be big in the free hit? I should probably ask one of the free hitters. Burnley. Yeah, Burnley and Spurs teams. They'll be looking nice and strong.
That's the big the big gap in your team and my own.
Yeah.
That's really got me kind of looking a bit closer at the potential to free hit. Is the fact that I don't have any Burnley assets, but Steve, you do, because you are free hitting this week. You've hit the button; it's active. Talk us through your Game Week 27 plans.
So I suppose it started when I made the call to play the wild card last Friday night, and I think I'm in that position that I still have 2 free hits. So I suppose it's a bit of a luxury. So I had a couple of cans and I made a bit of a plan there last Friday night, and I've actually plotted out. So I suppose I went heavy on Game Week 26 players. And I suppose it's probably different to yourself, Paddy, by this sounds of things. But I actually went with a plan that would allow me to have a full team in Game Week 28, 29, and 30. And in 28, before making any moves now, I should have 8 double game weekers. And if Arsenal get their double, that'll bring me up to 11, and I'll probably bench boost. That will also lead me on then to Game Week 29, where I should have 7 minimum double game weekers, and I'll probably treble captain. And then Game Week 30, which is that big blank that I was originally going to play the free hit in, I already have 9 players in that game week that are guaranteed. And if Southampton go through, I'll probably have 11 as well. So I think I went on the approach of, because of the 2 free hits, that I am playing for 26 and then 28, 29, 30, but I'm definitely going to free hit this week, and I've already activated it, yeah.
What are your thoughts on people with 2 free hits that aren't free hitting this week? Is that, because I'm one of them, and I think it's, for me, am I being overly frugal with my chips, do you think? Or is it like, is there a case to be made that towards the end of the season could just as easily be, a viable option?
Yeah, like, I was going your route. I wasn't going to do the wild card last week. I was going to take it -12. I was going to struggle through 26, 27. Probably was going to free hit in 30, but I found I was going to be using all my chips like in the last couple of weeks. And to be honest, it's just been a pretty frustrating season over the last while, that I think by activating the chip, I'll be playing a chip now for the next 5 weeks. So like, it kind of gives you a bit of life. I'm sitting around 30 something K, so hopefully I can get back into the top 10K by, say, that Game Week 30, and then I'll still have that second free hit to be able to attack that big double game week towards the end. So I'm kind of going on the attack as opposed to playing it safe, which I usually do. I usually get kind of slagged for, I still have my communion money in my piggy bank because I tend to hold chips until the kind of very end of the season. So it's the first season that I've kind of gone for it, but like, I don't think there's a right or wrong. And I think in your position, Jar, like, you could get very tempted in Game Week 28 if you fall behind, say, this week and next week. But at the same time, it could make sense to see like if I think like the biggest thing that you could gain from holding out is if it'll definitely be announced by the end of game week 27 about game week 28, Arsenal or Chelsea. And if Arsenal play Chelsea in that week, Arsenal will have a double as well. But if Arsenal don't play Chelsea, it looks like Chelsea will play Norwich, and that'll be a double for Chelsea and their fixtures turn. And I think like that could be a great time to play the wild card, because I have no Chelsea players currently, and like with my current plans, they're up to 30. It'll be tough to kind of get them in. Whereas if you're a wild card and say game week 28 there, I think that could be a great little patch to kind of take advantage. But even just looking here, like you're probably just going to buy 2 defenders really, because they don't really have a striker at the moment. So it's a bit of a strange one as well,
It is a weird one because I am prepping for that Chelsea fixture swing in 28. I mean, as you mentioned, there is a possibility of a double game week as well. We're more than likely going to get news of that, within the next week or so. But regardless of double game week, Chelsea are coming into a run of Burnley, Newcastle, Norwich, Brentford, all the way up to game 31. Now I know they might blank in 30, but that's still an incredibly forgiving run of fixtures that any FPL manager is going to want to attack. But you're not wrong in the sense that like you're looking at Chelsea. Like today, I'm looking at them going, I really it is back to the 2 defenders option, isn't it? And with the likes of Liverpool and City offering, completely acceptable defenses and clean sheet returns, it doesn't become a necessity. And I suffered a little bit there around Christmas time when I did double up on Chelsea, and they weren't keeping clean sheets. They were conceding slappy goals, and I don't know how much I really want to jump back in on double Chelsea defence, and I also don't think there's anyone outside of Chelsea defence that has any interest for me. Paddy, what about you? How are you prepped for game week 27? Well, game week 28, like with the Chelsea. Have you any plans regarding the Chelsea kind of fixture swing? Are you winging it or what's
I just got rid of those cunts there on my wild card. They were, I know they swing, but I don't think I'll be able to get them back in. And I'm okay. I'm happy enough so far. Going forward, the wild card, I know I'm hoping to scrape through this 27. Just scrape through it. Like I hope it's not abysmal, but if I can just even get like just average or over it, I'll be happy. And then I think I'm okay for 28 and 29, and have the wild card and the bench boost plan as well. So I'm thinking of keeping the free hit for what was that one again, Fairy? The free hit, and not your first one, your second one.
Probably game week 35.
Yeah, and the bench boost, I think I'll be equipped for the bench boost, and is it 28?
Probably 28 or 29.
28 or 29, yeah. So I think I'm okay going forward. Like I'll have a bank in the transfer this week. I'll have 2 then for, going forward. So I feel like I'm okay. I don't. Yeah. I'll revisit that Chelsea swing though. I'm not like Chelsea have burned me bad. Like they've scored again. Like the last time I went near Chelsea was for Havertz in that game week 9, which destroyed me. And then I haven't had much luck with them after that since.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not. I don't think it's the be all and end all in regards to fixture planning and stuff. Especially as Steve mentioned, there's loads of.
Yeah.
It's like we're at a time now, I think, and it's. I don't know. Maybe it crept up on me. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's a massive divergence coming in FPL. Like people are going in different directions right now. Yeah. Obviously a lot of it's chip dependent, but even Steve has Steve has a similar amount of chips as I had last week. He's gone one way, I've gone the other way. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's just an example of, like, I don't know. I mean, it could be make or break time already in FPL, and I hope we're not sitting here or I'm not sitting here in 4 or 5 weeks going, fuck, should have taken option B when I went with option A. But
like, and I think like what's like what'll be a good guide is that I think at the moment you and I are pretty close in, like, say kind of rank at the moment, so we could we can look back at game week 38 and kind of see where we ended up.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see as well. You going hell for leather, like, and then fucking Communion Boy over here holding all his chips to the very last day. You gonna activate them all on game week 38 like I did? Bench boost, free hit, wild card. Are you doing that thing? Oh, you know what you could do, Jerry? You could just save all your chips, and I think you get 10 points for every chip
I
Yeah, I've
think
that
so.
actually
you
heard
save.
that.
Yeah. So
Imagine that if they
yeah,
just gave you an automatic.
40 extra points.
It would be tempting. Although, like, how boring would that be? You know, like, I mean, I love, like, this week now, triple captain active. You know, that fucking. I love those weeks. I love bench boost weeks. I love. I don't know. It's a bit weird.
Steven must be buzzing, like, with the whole go. The next 5 weeks for you is just going to be like the most exciting thing ever, like with all the chips being thrown into the mix.
Yeah, well, like I just found that, like, as in I usually start poor and kind of finish strong, but then this year I started well, and I just started dropping off there. That kind of game week when the FPL site had the glitch, that kind of hit me a bit because I left my moves until the last minute, and then those cancellations and stuff. I just kind of was on a bit of a spiral there. So I think if I didn't play it, I'd probably be a bit. You're just kind of going through the weeks. Whereas, like, now I've got the next, say, up until April basically. Now it'll be a bit of fun here playing FPL. So
yeah,
like that's part of the game too, isn't it?
Yeah, make FPL funny again. Is it just me, or are we all like coming out of like giant steps on the screen?
No, it's not just you. For anyone watching this on YouTube, there seems to be some technical glitches. Audio is all good, thankfully. But yeah, did you?
We're all out knacker drinking.
Yeah, Did anyone change a setting here in Skype perchance?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so, unless by accident.
No, Paddy's back to normal now, and
I'm not on my screen. But anyway, it's trippy. I like it.
You're all as normal on mine.
It's keeping me on my toes anyway. I'll tell you that much. But going back to game week 27, Steve, you mentioned that you've got the free hit button active. That's that's basically what I want to talk about in terms of what assets do you feel are a must-have going into game week 27.
I've got a current draft here, and I know I made a few tweaks when we were chatting earlier, but I forgot to hit save, so it's actually not by exact team. But I think for me, it's basically you'll have 3 Burnley no matter what. So what I had gone with was Pope in goals and Weghorst up top, and one of the defenders basically. At the moment, I have Roberts because I watched Match of the Day and he looked good. I'll probably do a bit of digging. I think. Do Burnley play in the cup this week? And I think if Tarkowski comes back, he seems to have the better goal threat over him and me. So I'd probably go with Tarkowski if he's back. I think he had COVID last week. So it'll be Roberts, Tarkowski, or me. So that's me 3 Burnley.
You going triple Burnley defense?
No, triple Burnley. I'm going Weghorst as my striker. Yeah. And I'd probably put the captain's armband on Weghorst as things stand.
Wow.
I know. How mad is that? And then and then apart from that, I think Spurs against Leeds, you kind of have to target that game. So at the moment, I have Kane and Son in that game. Not really going for any defenders, as I can probably see Leeds scoring as well. I know you guys have Rafinha, so
fingers crossed.
There's a strong chance of that. And then I suppose that's 5 slots filled. And then United at home to Watford looks pretty good as well.
Very nice.
I think I'll have to go Bruno there, and at the moment I have Luke Shaw in my squad as well. I'm not I haven't got massive faith in them keeping Watford out. Like it's the kind of game that you expect United to win, so it'll probably be like 3-1 Watford, with Emmanuel Dennis getting a big hat trick for you there, Paddy. But
I'll take it.
Yeah, but I have Bruno and Shaw in the moment, and then I suppose the other main fixture that stands out is Man City against Everton, and then Southampton against Norwich. So in the draft that I have here in front of me, I have Mahrez and I have Foden and Cancelo from Man City. And then my last 2 spots in my squad are Broja and James Ward-Prowse. But I think Ward-Prowse actually has to leave because that was a previous version that I had. So in summary, it's 3 Burnley, 2 Spurs, 2 United, 3 Man City, and 1 Southampton. That's what I'm looking at here currently.
And that just makes the free hit sound so sexy. Jared, like, why are you not free hitting? After hearing that there, do you not have a big fucking boner on you?
No, it's a curse. But
Fuck's sake.
that's something for, the privacy of me and my doctor. Okay. No, I mean I'll tell you why I'm not free hitting. I'm not free hitting because I have 11 starters at the moment. 5 of them would stay if I were to free hit. So that's the first thing that kind of hit me is why maybe I shouldn't do it. Looking at my team in terms of what I'm missing for game week 27. So I think obviously Burnley is the big thing there. Dublin. I don't have any double game week. I don't have any Burnley players. I am easily able to go from Van Dijk to me or Tarkovsky or Roberts if I wanted to save some money. I don't know if I'm going to go with Weghorst, and I think that could be, that could be one of the bigger decisions this week. I just think when you look at Burnley's fixtures in game week 27, away to Crystal Palace, at home to Leicester, I don't know. I mean, like, Burnley aren't exactly, like, just because they to beat Brighton 3-0 at the weekend, they haven't suddenly become a massively attacking squad, so I'm not overly concerned with not having one of their attackers. I will have one of their defenders, and then they go right into Chelsea in game week 28. So
But Jer, if you free hit, they're not going to be in your fucking team the whole time. Like, what I mean?
I was just going to say that, Paddy.
Like, you're just shitting all over the fuck. What I just said to you there, like.
Yeah, fair enough. I got distracted by the fact that I'm going to transfer in one of their players this week, and it's why in my head I was debating whether I would also take a hit to bring in Weghorst, and it's the 28 that's put me off. Obviously, that doesn't matter if I free it.
One more thing there. You start chatting a lot about Burnley and all, but what about this Cornet fella? I see a lot of people getting a wee bit excited about him. Has he entered your thoughts at all for the free hits or
Yeah, he definitely entered my thoughts initially, and I think it's more like if you're kind of bringing someone in. But for me, I think after watching Weghorst there at the weekend, like the man's a beast. He's playing Palace and Leicester, who apparently have very poor stats at defending set pieces. So by having a 6'7" striker and by having one of the centre halves who will be up for all the corners, like, I'm going that route, and I think with Nick Pope, if he gets a clean sheet, he's the kind of lad that can get 10 points. So like I'm going that approach with the kind of the goalkeeper and a defender. But if you weren't going with the striker, you'd probably go with the midfielder. But for me, it's just it's either him or Weghorst, and I'd rather kind of just take a gamble on good old Wout.
Yeah, he looks good. Jer, so have you activated the free hit yet or what?
No, I have not. I was hoping, like, I am open to being convinced in this episode. Like, I'm not completely against it. I did talk to Steve before, and I was saying to him, I was like, maybe I come out of this realizing the error of my ways. But as it stands, I'm not overly convinced with like, even we'll say another team in 27 that everyone's targeting is the Watford United match. Man United Watford. I don't have Bruno, so if I was to free hit, he'd come straight into my team. But all three of us are United fans, no bias on the show. But are all of us? Are you confident, Paddy, that United are going to go out and thump Watford at the weekend?
I'm never confident with United.
That's exactly what Steve said.
I'm never confident with United, but. If I was free hitting, like when Steven started chatting about his fucking free hit team there, I start looking at my team, and the more he spoke about his free hit, the more I start to sink into my chair. Like, I'm looking at my team now, and it's fucking shite. Like, imagine what you could do with
a week after you wildcarded.
But I mean, it's okay. It'll get me through. But I mean, like just the way he was chatting there, being able to the freedom bringing in a United player for the Watford game, just he can get the necessities in, and then he can have a few, he can have a wee bit of fun with a couple of other picks. That's the beauty of it, and those little fun picks are the one that you need to get fucking right.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think like.
No, go on, Steve.
Go ahead, Jer. All right, no, I was just gonna say, like, when you talk about the kind of fun picks, like for me, I know that you're saying there, Jer, and like this should be a reason for you to activate it, like. The likes of Burnley, I don't want them long term, but I'm going to treble up here. And as I said, like Crystal Palace and Leicester's defending stats of set pieces is very poor. So you're getting in their big striker and their big centre half along with Nick Pope. Like, I wouldn't like those guys in my squad long term, but I'll have them for this fixture. And then the same with I brought in no Man City players on the wild card, which is obviously a risk. I even sold Cancelo, but I'm looking at that kind of period of the game week 26 up to game week 30. And that's why Cancelo is not in my squad. I think I got away with it last week, but by using the free hit, I can literally go with whichever two midfielders look like they're going to start against Everton. Whereas if you buy a Man City midfielder, you're kind of stuck with them. And we see there some weeks, Sterling will score a hat trick and then he'll be benched. Whereas, I know that Luke Disable on Twitter has the Man City predicted lineup that he has been working on every week. And he seems to be pretty across that. And I'm just going to go with whichever two midfielders look like they're going to start. I know from watching match of the day there, Gundogan looked good. So if it turns out that KDB has a niggle or something, you could kind of go with someone like him. But at the moment, it's Mahrez and Foden. That could become Mahrez and Sterling. But I don't have to worry about them long term. And I suppose the other joy of the free hit is while I'll be going with two midfielders, there's a small chance that one of them could be benched just because of Pep, but by having the free hit and having a few bob in the bank, I'm going to have players like Livramento at home to Norwich as my first sub. He got 12 points there last week. There's nothing to say that he can't do well, so I suppose that's the joy of it too. And I think if we really want to try and turn your mind, what does your current midfield look like for 27?
For 27, my current midfield would be Saka on the bench. It would be Rafinha, Saka and Salah on the bench. It would be... So this is where it gets dirty. Trossard, Bowen.
Trossard.
I know.
Will you activate the free hit?
Will you fucking free hit?
I can. Let me
Christ
clarify.
Right?
Trossard.
He Trossard.
I can turn for a
Three
minus
free hits.
4. For a minus 4, I can turn Trossard into Sancho for this week.
Okay.
And that would be basically me deciding to wildcard in 28. So I would then have a midfield of Bone, Sancho, Rafinha would be in 3. I'd be benching Saka, Salah, and then I'd be playing Livramento, Davies, Cancelo, and the fucking Burnley defender, me. And then I'd also be playing Kane, Dennis, and Broha up front. So I mean, not a terrible team. That's the thing. It's like if I had maybe taken the plunge a little bit earlier on maybe other teams, if I'd gone something one like Lacazette this last week, he was a big kind of thing. If I'd gone heavy on Arsenal, I only ended up going with the 2 Arsenal, one being a goalkeeper. So if I had gone in heavy on Arsenal last week, then free hit would be no brainer this week. But the fact that last week I kind of made my mind up to stick to the plan, see it through. Now I'm wondering, is it fear missing out? Is it FOMO that's making me... I'm in the Twitter circles, I'm looking at all these pictures of lovely fucking free hits. Am I now being turned by that as opposed to an actual bit of common sense? And that's where I'm struggling this week.
Well, that's fair enough, Jared. And you know what? Maybe another way to look at it is it's a cheat free hit code. It shouldn't even be there. So maybe you should just not even use it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe
and just use one.
Yeah, and just hold your integrity to the game.
Yeah. So at the end of it, I might be outside the top 100k, but at least I'll have my integrity.
Well, we'd all respect you a lot more for it. I know if you did, I definitely would.
Fair enough.
And we're just talking about how we think that Watford could hypothetically beat United, and you're getting rid of Trossard, who's at home to Villa. You just know that when you make that move, Watford beat United 1-0 and Trossard scores 2 against Villa, who haven't looked great recently.
100%. The worst thing is, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I've already gotten rid of Trossard once this season, and he did score the week I got rid of him. So now, look, fortunately, it seems to be the case that he doesn't fucking start anymore. I don't think he's started more than 2 matches since he got COVID. He's been basically starting from the bench. So it's I'm not too upset that I think I just think he'll do fuck all against Burnley this week, or against Villa in game week 27. But I do wonder, like, even though I'm not sure about the United Watford match, I do still see United like winning maybe 1-0. Do you know, kind of way. So I'm happy to have the likes of De Gea there. If you had Fernandes, there wouldn't be a hope in hell I'd sell him. But you know, I'm not too convinced that it's going to be an absolute rout in the sense that I need to fucking. And how crazy is it that we're saying that about, oh, I don't know about United and a team fighting for relegation. That's the state of play that we're in now. But
and just one other thing that I think kind of is worth the argument too is like, I think if Man City were, say, 10 points clear in the league, we would end up in a position that, say you hold all your chips until the end of the season there, like you're planning on doing, or like even holding the free hit into next season. Like if you do end up kind of holding them there towards the end, and say if you don't wildcard in 28 and you wildcard in 34 in advance of game week 35, or sorry, 35 in advance of game week 36, which is the big one. If you end up doing that, and like if Man City had the league wrapped up, like it could be very frustrating to have held out that long, and then you end up like you bring in, say, Mahrez, Sterling, Salah, all these guys, and it looks like Liverpool and Man City are going to focus on the Champions League towards the end. Whereas the fact that it's looking like it's a proper title race now, it does give that bit of strength that, like, in my head, even like in looking at 27, I'm like, Pep's going to have to play a strong team after getting beaten by Spurs. So like that gives me hope that if I go with, say, Mahrez and a Foden, that like they actually will start, and that like he won't come out with some random plan of playing Roy Delap's son, or like someone else there on the wing,
Cole Palmer out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god.
No, I mean that's a good point, Steve. Like, and it is like, obviously if I stick with the no free hit option this week, I will be pretty, behind the sofa, as they say, for the Man City match, because I do think they're actually going to fucking trash Everton. You said you're going double midfields, was it, Steve? You're waiting to see what Fancy Football Scouts Luke says is the predicted City lineup, and then go double midfield, because I think the other option for free hitters is, do you go double defense, which is interesting. I'd be with you though. Looking at the free hits I kind of ran through today, a few drafts, I pretty much went with double City mids as well, just because if you are free hitting, you want to have a bit of a swing at it, do you know, that kind of way.
Yeah. And I think like the one thing that would sway you is if like the thing with Foden there that came out, that he was in a bit of a spat during the week. Like if something, like, if Pep says something and if it doesn't look like he's going to play, you could easily put in James Ward-Prowse against Norwich at home, which is a very nice fixture for him. You could put Ward-Prowse instead of Foden, and then I could get rid of Shaw, because I think we don't think Man United are very predictable at the moment. So you could go with like Cancelo and Diaz, or Cancelo and Laporte there instead, because Everton have been looking very poor, and you'd think that the fact that City lost last week, like they're gonna properly go for this game, you'd expect. So that's another option for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, you wouldn't want to mess with Foden's old doll?
No.
Jesus,
a strong hook on her.
Fucking hell, hey. Huh?
That, I mean, like, just on the Foden thing, from what I saw, it seems that he was pretty much an innocent victim in that. I don't think there shouldn't be too much.
It's not like he's done something wrong.
Yeah, for a change,
Yeah.
But either way, it's enough to scare you. I wouldn't probably be going with Foden this week, just maybe in case he needs his head reset or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a pretty good breakdown of the free hits. Is there anything more you want to touch on before I ask the big question?
Your balls.
That is inappropriate and unprofessional.
Sorry.
In front of our guest, Paddy.
Sorry.
We spoke about this, and I said, please, just not in front of Steve. Okay, I'll just break. No.
I have. I didn't think I said that loud.
But the big question is captaincy. Captaincy for Game Week 27. Steve, you're our guest, so you can tell us right now who your captain. You said it's on Vegas, but talk us through your reason there.
Tell us your real captain.
Yeah, your real captain. Stop taking the piss.
Don't be a Lee.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you at 6:31 on Friday evening.
Yeah, no worries.
I know. No, as things stand, I just made those transfers that I was talking offline with you, Jer. Currently, Weghorst has the armband and Kane has the vice. I really really like the Spurs Leeds fixture. Especially after the win last week, they should be on a bit of a roll. Kane's stats have been really, really good in recent weeks. He's getting lots of shots off. Leeds look so open. I think they have. I was looking back there, and on the last few weeks, they have the highest expected goals conceded, which bodes well. But it's hard to just not go with a double game weeker. And I think like you can argue that point of having the big kind of 6'7" guy against two teams that have been struggling with set pieces. I just think I'll end up there with Weghorst, and yeah, I think that's where I am.
Two throws of the dice. I mean, I get it. It's always appealing. At least then if the first one fucks up, that you have that backup shot. What about you, Petty? Who are you looking at for Game Week 27?
For Game Week 27, I am currently on the best looking player on my team again, and the best fixture, and that looks like Son.
That's a good shout.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you, Petty. Harry Kane has currently got the armband. I'm pretty excited about that Leeds match. I'm with Steve. I think we've seen how leaky. I mean, come on, it's no shock. Leeds have been leaky for God knows how long, but they're even referencing it. In the pre-match interviews, they're talking about how many goals they've conceded in the last 10 matches. It is an insane kind of record, and I would feel pretty confident with a bit of Spurs. But I mean, who knows? Apparently, Kane picked up a bit of a knock in that match against City. He should be okay. Conte came out today and basically said that he'll have to lose his leg before he wouldn't start him. Like Kane he plays basically.
And I think I'm just looking here, if it makes you feel any better. I'm looking at the Hub's predicted points for 27, and it has Kane and Son as joint third for the game week, behind Bruno and Weghorst. So,
how far behind Weghorst is he?
1 point.
So fucking nothing.
Yeah. So they have Weghorst at 7.9 and Son and Kane at 7. So.
Well, lads, just here looking at the team, and I'm looking in here at bringing in Weghorst, and I just want to ask your humble opinions on it. Like, I was going to bank, but just that double has tickled me a wee bit.
Who is it for?
I was thinking Jimenez for Weghorst. I would love to get rid of Dennis, the little bastard, but I could -4. Maybe a -4 would be all right as well, wouldn't it?
Well, the only issue is the following week you're going to want Jimenez because he's at home to Palace and Watford in a double.
Fuck, that's right. Yeah.
And Dennis has a double that week as well.
The bastards.
I think you made your bed last week. You chose to ignore Burnley's double, and I think you should stand by your man.
Yeah, well, I think you should just forget about that second free hit then.
Oh, of course. I've already decided I'm not going to use it. You guys swung me with that integrity argument, and God knows I love integrity. But so you're currently on Son. Steve's sitting on big Weg, and Big Wout is how it is. He does look like an interesting FPL option, though. That's the thing. I don't expect a whole lot from Burnley, but I'm hoping I'm wrong about that. And some of the goals they scored against Brighton at the weekend, some of the play was, it was interesting. I'm intrigued. But I think not enough to convince me, and I'm sticking the armband still on Harry Kane, because he does look like he's getting back to, where he should be, basically, after the kerfuffle during the summer. But I think that about wraps up our free hit chat for Game Week 27. We've touched on double Game Week 28 and double Game Week 29 a little bit. We'll obviously go into more detail on that next week. We should have a bit more information on potential double Game Week 28 and what that means for Chelsea and all that kind of stuff. So there's no point going into too much, but we will get your back next week. We would usually go into like the mini league here, Steve. I know this is your first time on, but Paddy usually has a big old breakdown of the mini league, and he talks about all the fuck ups and not fuck ups and whatnot. But as it's midweek, there's no point going into it right now. There's still a lot of chips up in the air, no pun intended. But what we will do is we will kindly invite you to take a seat on the FPL Hangover High stool, if you would be so kind, Steve.
Lovely. Yeah, I'll just move my position here now.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's
You comfy?
Yeah, I've got the pint of Guinness here as well. So all good.
Oh, excellent.
Sláinte.
Thanks again for popping on the show, Steve. It's much appreciated. I'm saying this now before you hang up in anger at some of the questions.
I've got my finger on the button. Perfect.
I'm kidding. They're all friendly questions. We touched on your history of rank, your rank history, top 4Ks in 5 years. That's pretty fucking impressive. But what I want to ask you is overall rank. How much stock do you put in it in general?
To be honest, I'm a bigger fan of my kind of mini leagues where I'm in them with lads that like really go for it. I do like obviously when you're kind of making content and you're doing different things like your overall rank is what you have on your page, but for me, like the kind of crack comes with your kind of mini leagues. And like I know last season I was second going into the last game week of the season, and do you remember that random thing when Scott Carson played?
Yeah.
And the guy who was coming first in my mini league brought in Ederson for the last game week of the season for the Man City clean sheet, and randomly this Scott Carson plays for like the first time in 10 years. And I brought in, I think it was the end of last season when Mane got like 12 points or something. Remember, he went a bit mad on the last day of the season.
Yeah, and everyone went, "Oh, we'll captain Mane instead of Salah," and
yes,
I didn't.
And I brought Mane in and captained him, and I ended up winning the league on the last day of the season, and that was like a big deal. And like I take more pride in that kind of stuff than the actual rank. But at the same time, yeah, like I would be interested in kind of where I come. And I suppose I've never had a top 1K rank, and I thought this year was like I was ranked at 4K after I think it was game week 12 this year, and I was there for about 7 weeks, and then just went on a bit of a bad spiral there for a couple of weeks after. But like I was kind of thinking I'd get that first 1K finish, and I don't think it's going to happen now, but the goal is to get the 5th top 4K finish now, hopefully.
Yeah, it's eluded you, but I mean you can't complain when I have it up here on the screen, so YouTubers are looking at it right now. But like 2K, just inside 4K, 3K, all inside your first 5 years of playing, 6 years of playing, and then it's kind of slowly, I wouldn't say it's dropped off because, like as I said, you've only finished outside the top 100K twice, but those 200K finishes were in the last, 2 of them were in the last 3 years. So obviously last year 12K, great season, you're loving it. But then the other 2 outside the top 100K and outside the top 200K in 2018-19. Is there anything you like that you would kind of attribute to what happened in those 2 years? Is it more of like you were busy? Is it how you changed your style of play? Like you must, I know you've been asking yourself that question. What have I done?
I've asked the question, but I actually know the answer, because for those 2 seasons I moved to Australia, and I think I missed 2 or 3 deadlines in a row in that 250K season, which was my first ever outside 100K, and that kind of bugged me at the time. But I think once you miss a couple of deadlines, the games were at like 2 a.m. COVID had started, and there was a lot of that whole games were getting called off and different things, and like I just gave up on like trying to stay up late at night or else be up early in the morning and different things. So I stayed playing those 2 seasons, but to be honest, like I was way less engaged than I have been in past seasons. And I suppose what was good was coming home from Australia last year then to get a 12K finish again was a nice way to be kind of back into it again.
I mean, that's as good as an excuse as any. You know, I was in a different fucking time zone. You know, it's pretty respectable. I get that.
But like there are a lot of guys in a lot of different time zones like that have like like say they have outrageous finishes too. So like it's an excuse at the end of the day. But I think yeah like I think once I missed a couple of deadlines, you really can just like not be as interested in it, I think.
But I mean, if you can't use different time zone and pandemic as an excuse, I mean, when can you? You know.
True.
I won't hold you over the fires anymore with that one. I do. This is more of a fun question, actually. I love asking this one. Are there any FPL assets or former FPL players that you have held in your heart? You know, a special place for you.
I'd say my favorite player is probably Van Persie. That season that he came from Arsenal to United and just like tore it up. I just love having him that season. I'm old enough playing the game to have had like Gerrard, Lampard, like they were just phenomenal.
Ronaldo when he was first there.
Ronaldo having them, like I just remember those weeks. It was like, and like I think it was back before there was like blogs and different things, and like you were just kind of watching the games and just picking your teams, and like players like Ronaldo. And there was a guy. I know you're playing a bit longer than me, Jer. There's a guy. He was a Burnley left back. Who took penalties.
Yeah,
and I had him. I had him when he scored 2 penalties. Was it Alexander or something?
That was it. Graham Alexander, I think.
Graham Alexander. Yeah, he's just one of those guys that I haven't. Yeah, he's. If I was to have one of those kind of things in the background, where you have your, FPL legends and all, I'd have him in, up on one of them.
We call them stable boys here.
Stable boys. Okay.
Yeah.
Stable boys.
We used to. I robbed that one from OSW, but we used to do a thing where we'd obviously go into our favorite past players, and the likes of Graham Alexander was often mentioned.
Yeah.
Not Graham Alexander. Maybe it is. I can't remember now if I'm mixing him up with the guy that invented the telephone or something. But yeah. But there was the likes of a bunch of like Clint Dempsey. He was also a personal favorite of mine.
Yeah.
For
I was
Fulham.
a huge fan of his.
Big fan of him in FPL at the time. But that's a pretty good shout, Van Persie. Paddy, I don't think I've ever asked you that question, and we are talking about it. And you're never going to be on the high still because you've.
Yeah, I never will be.
Because you'd fall off it.
I probably would. Repeat the question there just quickly.
Oh, fuck's sake. Any FPL player, obviously has to be retired now, that holds a special place in your heart. FPL like asset, not an actual manager, obviously.
Arnautovic.
Arnautovic for Stoke and whatnot.
Aye, him. I had a great captained him one time, and he got me a couple of goals. And I remember actually Seamus going, very bizarre that you captained Arnautovic to me on Twitter. Yeah. He didn't. He mightn't have said bizarre, but I remember him seeing it, and he called me a mad bastard. But I mean, I just liked him. I used to bring him in near the end of the season and like him. But I mean,
But that's all you need. You just need those little memories of that little time that it worked out for you.
That's all.
That's fair enough. One more, Steve.
I have a fun fact for you just before we move off that question. Graham Alexander is the guy who was the Burnley left back, and he's currently the manager of Motherwell. Would you believe? So now.
Wow.
Fuck off. There we go.
Jesus Christ.
That's it.
That's crazy. So I wonder if
he's 50 now. So that shows that we are getting on as well. If we can remember playing FPL when he was playing.
Come here. Speaking of getting on, I had a thing happen to me yesterday. I was doing the sticker book, the Panini sticker book with my son.
Oh yeah.
And we had some great cards pulled, like a elite Ronaldo and all. But anyway, we got a legend card. It was Ronaldo, and when I was putting it in, there's a little biography of his career and all. And I was just reading about it, and it brought me back. Like, he was 16 years old, obviously for Everton, and then he came to United, and I remember that hat trick in the Champions League. And like, here I am putting this sticker.
You mean Rooney?
Rooney, who am I saying there?
You said Ronaldo.
All right, Rooney.
Yeah.
And no, we got because we got the elite Ronaldo sticker, and then we got a legend sticker of Rooney, and I was putting it in. I was thinking, holy fuck! Like, I've watched his whole career. Like, we all have. Like,
From 16-year-old to granny shagging.
Yeah.
To a manager now for Derby.
Doing fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it was mad.
So yeah, we are old, Paddy. Cheers
Yeah,
to
that.
Fucking
Good talk. Good talk.
Final question, Steve.
Sir.
If you mentioned that you had a bit of a rough time a couple of months ago when you dropped from 4K, so this kind of fits into that. What tip would you give those that happen to be riding the Red Arrow Dragon? So when you're on a bit of bad form and you just can't seem to get your fucking funk, back together. What are you any tips? Something that you kind of abide by?
It's probably in line with Paddy's jumping into the ocean. But for me, it's I think when that happens, you can either go one of two ways. You can go like, right, I'm gonna kind of consume every piece of content, and I'm gonna watch loads of videos and podcasts. And I find it's kind of information overload. If you have 2 or 3 podcasts that you listening to, I listen to them. But what I actually just found is trying an audiobook or something and just kind of switching off and just it's a game. We play it for a bit of crack. These things happen, and I think
100%.
You can get to the point that I see some people it just looks like their whole weekend is ruined if they have a bad game week, and I've had shocking game weeks, but I try and not let it be real life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Or another one is a good pokey bum wank.
Very much so. Yeah, that's a
no
favorite
comment.
of Paddy's.
No comment.
What how long would it affect you if you had a pokeball? I can't even say it. No, how long would a dreadful game week affect you, Steve? If you were if it's all gone tits up, and you're sitting there and you've got a big sour fucking puss on you,
Jesus Christ.
How long does that last?
I think I've got to the point that I just don't let it affect me in that way. I'm looking here at my worst rank of the season, right? I had a 7 million game week rank in game week 19, and I dropped from 6,000 in the world to nearly 30,000 in 1 week after being in the top.
I'm gonna reach 1K.
Exactly. And I was from between 4 and 6K there for 7 weeks in a row, and I dropped to near 30 in 1 week. But to people that don't play fantasy football, they wouldn't know that, because it's not I go around bitching and moaning to strangers. My partner has a bit of a no nonsense attitude to it, so she just kind of she just it's a game, just get over it and that kind of thing. So it's good in a way, because it makes you actually it's it's not real life, blah blah blah. But at the same time, you have your bit of I'll do a bit of analyzing, say later that week, when I'm all right, so if I had made this move and that move, or if I had done this and that, but I don't let it kind of take over. I tend to go for a cycle or go for a walk and or go for a pint, kind of something like that, or one of those things.
But hey, you know what the worst is? I don't let it affect me either. I'll just I'll annoy me for about an hour or two. But
yeah, because you've probably done something batshit fucking crazy before the game week started, Paddy.
Yeah,
so
probably.
It wouldn't make any sense if you let it get to you.
But do you know what the worst is? That when you have a bad game week and then you go into an international break.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that is.
It's a very long batch of time.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But we all probably. I don't know if you guys had Dennis there for that red card. Did anyone have him?
Yeah, captain.
Same.
Yeah,
scared at that for fucking 2 weeks. Oh.
Yeah, but I think though, there's an Irish podcast, and one of the questions are, can you give me a time when if you didn't laugh you'd cry? And I think most FPL managers have 10 examples like that in a season. So I think
a week, Steve. What are you talking about?
Oh well, I have this. So it's pretty. It's just part of the game, really. But it does kind of bug me. And to be fair, I don't really do much Twitter on the weekends, because I just find there's kind of you can spend, you probably go through phases, but you can spend all weekend on Twitter and checking your live rank and these things. I've done that in the past, and I it's not really good for you. Once you lock in your team on a Friday, you can't do anything until
it.
the kind of game week's over. And like, there's people then who'll be tweeting like, oh, I'm going off Twitter for a week and I'm doing this, and then they're back on the next day. Like that I just don't tweet. Like, it's just like, you just don't need to be.
Nobody fucking cares if you're leaving Twitter for a week. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to fucking tell us. Just fucking leave it and come back and whatever. But yeah, there's fucking people on there that get upset if the highest scoring player on their team wasn't their captain, like, and they still have good game weeks. You get all sorts on there. It's a fucking jungle.
Yeah, you mentioned live rank there, Steve. Like, what kind of ranker are you? Do you look at your live rank kind of frequently throughout the game week? Do you chuck it at the end of a game day, like on a Saturday night? Some people look at it like every time a fucking goal goes in. What's that done to my rank? Well, how do you approach that?
No, I never do the whole like checking a clean sheet before the game's over. I don't do any of that stuff.
That's sacrilege.
I do all that shit.
Yeah, and I think but I think like it's part of like what what you're doing, because like at the moment, I have a lot going on, so like I'm kind of busy on say a Saturday, whereas if I'm at home, I probably would do it more. Whereas but like there's kind of times there like say Arsenal conceding there during the week, I hadn't checked what rank I would have been and that kind of stuff. But if I had double Arsenal defense and if I checked my rank and I was going to be like top 20k and then I dropped to 30, like that would bug you. Whereas when you just don't know, it kind of helps.
And it doesn't exist if you don't know.
Yeah, and like I know some guys do like the match of the day challenge and that stuff. I've never done it, but I don't really watch much live football. I tend to watch match of the day, listen to one or two podcasts early in the week, and then like a couple more say Thursday, and then that'll help me make my my calls. Like I don't really like watch say full games and that kind of stuff. It's probably been in Australia that like you can't really watch any live sport. I kind of just got to that point now that I watch the highlights. I go onto Hub, I go through the stats for about 20 minutes after each game week, and I kind of see like what defenders are doing this and what's happening. That kind of helps me like have a think about what I'm going to do then in the coming weeks.
Yeah, that's interesting. But it's very similar to yourself in the sense that I don't look at any of that stuff until the day is over, at the very least. Maybe like if there's if the match is done and there's no current games, I'll look at it then just to see what the state of play is, but not overly concerned with it. But yeah, that wraps up the high stool. I'd like to thank you, Steve, for daring to take on such a challenge.
Well, JR, I do have a question.
No, sorry,
God.
time's up.
I have one question.
Oh, geez.
This is the question we all want to know, Stephen.
This is the part where I have to cut it. So I'm going to make note of the time stamp here. Yeah.
Stephen, Team North or Team South?
Oh God, I haven't checked who's playing for what.
I'm playing for Team North, so I am. So if that helps you at all.
And just kind of what's the summary there? Just kind of give me the quick. I know Benny Blanco is the organizer, but I'm not sure of what's what.
Benny Blanco. It's billed as Benny. No, sorry, it's GAMEWEEK 39.
GAMEWEEK 39, yeah.
It's a charity. It's all going towards Street Children United. Great charity, and basically it's a couple of FPL players playing other FPL players. There's going to be people coming to watch.
Tackles.
Yeah, it's going to be all going down. And basically, Team North are the fucking. They're going to be the winners. In my humble opinion.
I think I'll back the projected winner. So in Team North.
Great.
I think I'm right in saying, is that where I know that Ben Krellin and the FPL Heisenberg and a few guys from the Hub are going to be on that team as well, is it?
Yeah, Ben Krellin's on Team North. Heisenberg, he lost his wheelie bin. And he can't play anymore. He's can't practice out in his back garden, so he has to leave. So he's not playing anymore. He's out. But we've got a new fella in called Steve, bit of a madman. But we have a good squad. It's good. Yeah.
What position do you play, Paddy?
I'm playing up front for the second half.
Up front. A lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And is it true that you've been hitting the gym pretty hard over the last couple of weeks now in advance of this game?
It is true. The rumors are true. I am at the gym. I'm swimming. I'm also going to. I'm hoping to do a challenge. I'm climbing the 4 highest peaks in Ireland, in the 4 provinces, and I'm doing that in 24 hours. So
Oh, wow.
I'm doing a bit of training for that, for the call up to that, and I'll be in my best shape for that match in my life.
Imagine you got so bulked up that you couldn't fucking run. That would be so hilarious.
Well, I'll never be bulked up because I shit about 6 times a day, Jer. But I am looking forward to running my wee sparrow legs up and down that pitch for the fucking north.
And representing the Hangover,
And
Paddy, the
representing
Irish
the
crew.
Hangover, definitely.
Fuck's sake.
And are you going to wear the Budgie Smugglers or a t-shirt or what's the plan?
If he gets me a fucking hangover thong, I'll wear it back to front.
Really?
I will.
Because that is an actual quote. That's an actual quote I can.
I'll pull my shorts down.
Hangover thong.
Back to
Tweet
front.
that right
Should
now.
I say something like witty? I'm actually putting this down because I'm going to order one, and you are going to have to wear it now after that. You mightn't have to wear it playing. I wouldn't do that shit. I don't want to see the chafing, but like we're gonna have to make the most out of it. Anything funny that we put on it? Like I don't know.
Fuck the South.
Raising the nah. We'll think about it. We'll do it off air. We'll think about it a bit more.
It's all good.
But we will put a line under the high school there, and thanks again for that, Steve. Where can everyone find you? Tell us all your dirty details. Social media, Steve.
All right, jeez, I was going to get extremely personal there. Yeah. I know. I'm mainly on FPL Instagram as FPL Fairy, and you'll also find me on Twitter there as well. So that's all from me.
He's got that Instagram game fucking well locked down. It's a great page now. You're not on the old gram, aren't you? Not here, but
nope. You mean the podcast? No, it's not on the Instagram.
Just the gram. Yeah, well, Fairies gram's amazing. It's a great place.
Yeah, every fucking week.
You're missing out.
Yeah, that's good.
Paddy, where can everyone find you?
You can get me on the gram at FPL the Viking Dippers, and you can get me on Twitter at FPL Viking _.
Fantastic.
Yeah. You get me on my OnlyFans at Chafe Me Balls. No, you can cut that.
Yeah, we're not gonna cut it. We're gonna leave it.
I know you can cut that.
But and if you do want to reach out to us, there's no OnlyFans page, but you can get us on Twitter at FPL Hangover, and you can reach out to us on our Gmail if you want to be a bit more old-fashioned. That's fplhangover@gmail.com. Make sure to leave a like, rating, whatever you're watching this on. If it's YouTube, if it's Spotify, whatever, just drop us a thumbs up or something. It makes a big difference. And let us know what you're thinking. Drop a comment below as well. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoy the best of Game Week 27s, and most importantly, God bless.